Northfield. My name is Lee Topp, and my wife, Beverly, and I have been members since 1998, and it has been one of the most significant involvements we have experienced in our lifetime, being a member of this fellowship and getting to know people such as yourselves. UUFN is an inclusive community that nurtures spiritual and intellectual growth and fosters ethical and social responsibility. If you are a visitor, we are glad you are with us, and we invite you to stay after the service to get acquainted. We welcome your questions and look forward to getting to know you. Our opening words today come from Reverend Dr. Rebecca A. Savage. We light our flaming chalice each week with a simple spark to make holy our time together. With this flame, may our highest intentions be refreshed. With this flame, may we remember who we are and whose we are. With this flame, may our faith be renewed and reignited to guide our journey. Amen, and let it be so. I forgot the bell. It's so sad. It's my aunt's bell too. Ding, ding, ding. She'll forgive me. Please join me in repeating the words in your program for lighting of the chalice. Let us
open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. Let us open our hearts to love one another.
Thank you. You sounded wonderful. Our reading for today is Love's Many Shapes by Reverend Scott Taylor. In this space, carved out by our quiet connection, we give thanks for the many forms of love that have formed us. The love of family that brings us into being, allows us to bloom, and then sends us on our way with the reminder that we can return no matter what. The love of partnered hearts that teach us to trust and help us know that who we are does not end at the barrier of our own skin. The love of friends who help us feel seen and sing our song back to us when we cannot hear it with our ears alone. The love of community that bathes us in belonging and calls us to see the needs of others as our own. And the greatest love, the love that will not let us go, even in our fear, even in our failure, even when we are lonely or lost. Love invites us home, friends. If we listen, it is doing so even today. And now we will call on Bill and Reed for Come Sing a Song With Me, a hymn.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring the song of love and rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain Come share a rose with me, that I might know you're mine. And I'll bring you home when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
It's time for what we call our joys and sorrows. Instead of a flame that the breeze will blow out, we're going to drop stones on this platter that where the chalice was lit a few minutes ago. You know, there's some things on construction they used to call it an act of God, where you were excused if you couldn't quite make the deadline. So anyway, somebody has agreed to pick up stones and drop them in. I guess I can do that. If you have a joy or concern, then you can raise your hand and Bill will bring the mic to you so you can express that. And we've got one already. So while Bill's getting set up there, I will just give a joy for this day and for our surroundings here and for the sunshine and the marvelous environment that the green growth provides for us, absorbing carbon dioxide and giving off oxygen. And at the same time, I will express a sorrow for these mighty oaks that have been afflicted, you can see the brown leaves here, by oak wilt and last year's drought. In their weakened state from the drought, I think they were unable to survive. Unfortunately, I think this tree here, I would guess, is about 150 years old, and this one here might be about 125 based on the ones that I've had experience cutting. So it's a very sad moment in the life of this forest, but my aunt used to say, time goes on and we go with it. The trees do too.
I have a joy. Yesterday was Dear Lilla Lee, his grandma called him, his 50th birthday.
All right.
Actually, can I tell him?
Yeah.
Lee turned 81 yesterday. And you know what he was doing all day? Working. We're going to celebrate next week.
Okay, then we will place one more stone for all the simple joys that are sustaining us, and a second one in honor of the sorrows and hardships that all of us might be carrying. I invite you now to attend to your own silent meditation. Freudian slip there. I'll try to restore the mood. Invite you to your own silent meditation. And I don't remember all of the different circumstances that we mention at times, whether you believe it's prayer or whatever, but you can be free to meditate in a way of your own choosing. I personally will enjoy some forest bathing for the next minute or so.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Oh, in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shade of justice. Roots hold me close,
It was a year ago that we gathered together. And as you may recall, for those of you who were here, Liz, Brecky, and John, Fraz, spoke about their experiences, their inspirations, their life story, and we were blessed to capture those words. And I was blessed to be able to use that inspiration to write the song that I wrote. Will You Miss Me When I'm Gone? Now, I have always been interested in what are called parting songs. They're usually based on traditional music and have been with us many, many years. One of them that you may be familiar with is called The Parting Glass. It's a beautiful piece, English tradition. The song that I'd like to sing for you is a parting song, and it is entitled, Farewell, My Friend, I'm Bound for Canaan. Now, Canaan, if you're not familiar with the word, and perhaps not familiar with the Old Testament, as well as some of us are, in Genesis, God promised Abraham that his descendants would inherit the land of Canaan. So Canaan became known as the Promised Land. Sadly, there were Canaanites there, but that's another story. Canaan basically today includes Israel, Gaza, and parts of Syria. So it's an ancient land with an ancient people. But the song that inspired this is a hymn that was, I think was created by shape note singers, if you're familiar with the shape note tradition. They have it's a lovely cadence, a lovely rhythm. It's always a cappella, and it's just really quite something. Anyway, I came across this hymn many, many years ago and would often sing it after the passing of a dear friend. So I added, as I'm wont to do, some additional verses. So let me sing Canaan's Land. Farewell, my friends, I'm bound for Canaan. I'm passing through the wilderness. Your company has been delightful. You do not leave my mind distressed. I go away behind to leave you, and here never to meet again. And though we never have that pleasure, I know we'll meet on Canaan's land. When I was born, you held me tightly. When I was young, you gave me love. When I was grown, you walked beside me. Now as we part, I feel we're one. I go away behind to leave you, and here never to meet again. And though we never have that pleasure, I know we'll meet on Canaan's land. May there be times you feel my presence. A gentle breeze becomes my voice. Know that I found a place of waiting, a time to come when hearts rejoice. I go away behind to leave you, and here never to meet again. And though we never have that pleasure, I know we'll meet. I know we'll meet. I know we'll meet Canaan's land.
And now it's time for the prose or poetry that any or all of you may have brought. Then I think if you just raise your hand, Bill will be the mic deliverer again and bring the mic to you. And if you would just make sure that Paul is focused on you before you start speaking, he would greatly appreciate it.
This is in honor of my mom, Elizabeth Sherry Hodges. She and I had a tough time connecting while she was alive. And after she died, I got the big box of things that she had written. And in it, I found a whole number of poems where she said things that she was never able to say out loud. So this is one of them, and it's called Hourglass. And I just want you to imagine an hourglass with the upper chamber and the lower chamber and that little neck that connects them between. From the beginning, people dropped through its narrow neck like sand. First Adam, then Eve, then their children, then Noah, Abraham, Moses, and all ever after. And now, you and I. No hurry, no waiting. From then to now to hereafter. That crystal moment in the neck of the glass, living. The richness of the used lives in the bottom. Does the Almighty, turning over the glass, ever recycle that growth?
For Soul Matters this month as invitation, and I came across a Shel Silverstein poem. I've always liked him. And it extends an invitation to those who possess imagination and a longing for the extraordinary. This poem's informal conversational tone creates a sense of immediate connection and invites the reader to come in. Invitation. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by the fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in.
Nice.
This is just a little reflection back. My dad always had a vegetable fruit garden, and so I've been gardening my whole life. And I always love this time of year because so much garden produce is coming forth, and I always grow more than I normally can use, so I always share it with other friends. In fact, a lot of you probably have eaten our tomatoes or sweet corn or raspberries. And here is the reflection of what it takes for a cycle of gardening. Have you ever thought about the full spectrum of the gardening cycle that is taking place whenever you partake of our nurturing acre produce? That's what we call our place, nurturing acres. It actually begins in the winter, while the soil lies barren and frozen under a blanket of snow. These first stirrings occur when I send nurturing thoughts to the garden. In anticipation, the earth receives seeds of hope for the spring. With the spring thaw, natural organic fertilizer starts to penetrate its nutrients deep within the soil. Hay from the surrounding pasture has been laid down as mulch around the perennial plants to offer protection from the drying winds. The earthworm contribute their part as they continue to turn the soil under it. Weeds give up their struggle so that the desired plants may take advantage of the additional space and nutrients. Spring brings warming temperatures and life-giving rains. The soil is tilled and brings the microorganisms back to the surface. The soil and organic fertilizer is broken up and redistributed. This brings air back into the soil. It is at this time of year that I feel rejuvenated and reconnect with the earth. Each seed I plant is poised to carry out its genetic instruction and to grow into the plant it was created to be. The plant's life forces go into action as they work in harmony with all that is around them. It gives spirit to the growing seeds and plants so they might develop their own energies. I feel at peace and in harmony when working in the garden. It is truly a joint effort in the manifestation of creation. 40-year-old or 79-year-old spruce trees offer protection to the garden from the prevailing south summer winds. They also offer shelter for all the songbirds that grace our home and garden. Birds share their daily songs with growing plants. Their singing enables the plant stomas to open wider, and this allows the plants to take in more nutrients. A healthier, larger plant is the outcome of this symbiotic relationship. With an intentional exchange, we share our garden with our wildlife. As the birds' life partake of our berries, garden spiders spin their webs in our raspberry canes to help with the control of garden insects populations. Native bees and pollen-loving insects of the area visit the flowering plants to help with the pollination that is needed. From time to time, the garden is visited by many other native animals. Pheasants, red fox, raccoon, possum have been spotted at various times. Even underground, the eastern mow is busy turning the soil. This interaction continues throughout the summer months. There is a continuous interplay with the local plant kingdom about which plants get any available garden space at a given time. With long hours tilling, hoeing, and weeding, the desired plants take hold and takes command of the developing garden. Crops that bind, such as pumpkins, squash, and melons, help keep the weeds down. A lot of garden plants work as companion plants. Certain plants can be grown side by side to help each other enhance their growth and deter insect pests. The light-giving rays of the summer sun brings about an energy exchange that is needed for the plants to grow and develop. When all of life works in harmony, the outcome is an expression of abundance in the form of the harvest. The harvest is ongoing throughout the growing season as different plants have their own life cycle. The harvest begins with the asparagus around the end of April and ends with the harvest of pumpkin and winter squash in late September and early October. This was back in 2000 that I wrote this. At that time, we produced around 50 varieties of fruits and vegetables in our garden. The garden covers 10,000 square feet of surface area. Yearly, it produces over 4,000 pounds of fruits and vegetables. The harvest is shared with family, friends, and coworkers. Some extra produce is shared with, we had chickens at the time. They love cucumbers and other native animals of the area. Any remaining amount is returned to the earth for recycling for another year. The garden produces abundantly and expresses life energy by the texture, size, and flavor of its fruits and vegetables. Our garden brings great joy to us personally and also when we share our harvest with others. We recognize it as a labor of love. Thank you.
I bring a poem this morning. It's called The Guest House by Rumi, the famous Muslim Sufi poet. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be cleaning you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them all at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
This is a little reflection that I wrote about something very important to me, and it begins and ends with other writers. There is no frigate like a book to take us lands away, nor any courses like a page of prancing poetry. This traverse may the poorest take without a press of toll. Sorry about that. How frugal is the chariot that bears a human soul. This poem by Emily Dickinson reflects my emotional feeling about books and the act of reading. I began my love affair with books when I was a small child. I don't remember the very first book I owned or was read to me, but books were a part of my childhood experience. My mother valued books, and they were present in my home long before I could read. My parents bought me a set of books called My Book House, a 12-volume set edited by Olive Beaupre Miller and published by the Book House for Children in Chicago. My set has a 1937 copyright, although the first editions were published in 1921 and continued into the 1970s. This remarkable set was assembled by Olive Miller, who drew on the best of children's literature and illustration to include. Another interesting fact about these volumes was that the publishing, marketing, and sales were handled entirely by women. Another special volume I owned was The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. I loved that book, and as an adult have many editions of that. I have discovered that my book was a pirated edition published in the United States before Frederick Warne and Son, the publishers, obtained an English copyright. Other children's books that are still part of my collection are some first edition little golden books. These books, first published in 1942 by Simon & Schuster, cost a quarter. They were dismissed by some prominent librarians as being of poor literary quality, but American families loved them. Many excellent writers and illustrators created some of these books, which have increased in price but are still popular today. Most of the little golden books I have actually were bought from my younger brother, as my mother recognized a bargain to add books to his early library. I used some of them many times when I was a busy babysitter growing up and after I became a teacher. I painlessly learned to read by two of the most reliable methods: being read to when young and having access to books. After library visits became regular occasions, I entered the world of books and never looked back. When I became a teacher, I taught first grade for the first 6 years with a strong desire to help my students develop the skills that would allow them to discover the world of books for themselves. I have no information on whether that really happened, but tried to do my part, hoping that Dick, Jane, and Sally led to discovery of many other memorable characters. Reading is still one of my greatest pleasures, and a day without a book is like a day without sunshine. I was somewhat of a purist, rejecting an e-book reader as being somewhat of an inferior substitute for a real book. However, after receiving a Nook for a Christmas gift, I thoroughly embraced the idea of the pleasurable act of reading being delivered in a different way. I still enjoy the feel and appearance of a book, and it truly engages my senses when I open a book to the first page and step into another world. As author Louis L'Amour has said, "For one who reads, there is no limit to the number of lives that may be lived. For fiction, biography, and history offer an inexhaustible number of lives in many parts of the world in all periods of time."
My holiness envelops everything I see.
I was inspired by what you said about the trees at the very beginning of our service, and then it just came to me a little diddly that I wrote I wrote in my head when I was taking a walk on Pond Road in Vermont, and it goes like this: I am more than me. You are more than thee. For deep inside of every tree was once a seed set free.
Well, these are some of my words. My name is Elvie Day. 15 minutes of conversation, and I have lost a friend. A friend I wanted to keep for the next 40 years. And nothing I can say will call you to me again.
I am a heathen to your Christian eyes. My morals are not yours. My ideals you despise. I am not any different than I ever was. God, I got that wrong.
It's okay.
But I am more different than you thought I was. I could change my brain. I could change my height easier than I could change my brain. I aren't myself, and I will never be anyone but me for you, my friend. If you do not like my peaches, do not shake my tree. Peaches, hard, young, and firm. Maybe a little bit green. Some folks like them that way. Peaches, all different colors and flavors and textures. Some of the best peaches are bruised. Ignore the bruises. Those peaches are so ready to be enjoyed. Peaches get old, wrinkled, all dried up. Dried peaches are good too. If you do not like my peaches, do not shake my tree.
Wow.
I was inspired to write this last night because it's kind of the beginning of the church year. I know calendar-wise it should be July 1st, but we all gather at this time in this lovely setting of Lee and Bev's, and I just felt this come on. So, it's entitled, Are You Ready? Are you ready? Ready to begin, deepen, or refine your relationship with the unseen? I invite you to regularly seek solitude. There, you celebrate gratitude and joy, and insights around resistance, confusion, health issues, lack, or despair. In that space, you encounter silence and authenticity. In time, through willingness and practice, you develop an easy exchange. Welcoming silence becomes a reliable habit, a trusted way forward. You flow with endless possibilities. Accept this practice of invitation. Don't miss out.
We may have talked about this before, but it meant and means so much to us. The trees here mean so much to us. We've been here 50 years, and it's getting to be time to go. And when we allow ourselves to feel that, it's a very sad thing, but we also rejoice in the years that we've had here. And I'd like to talk about a book that really, I thought I knew about trees. I thought I appreciated our trees, but not until I read Overstory did I really understand trees better and consequently appreciate them so much. Overstory is written by Richard Powers. He's written many, many books, but he got the Pulitzer Prize with this in 2019, Pulitzer Prize in Fiction. And through this fiction, well, I'm going to read this to you. It's such a nice description. The Overstory winner of the 2019 Pulitzer Prize in Fiction is a sweeping, impassioned work of activism and resistance that is also a stunning evocation, I don't know if I'm saying that right, of and paean to the natural world. From the roots to the crown and back to the seeds, Richard Powers' 12th novel unfolds in concentric rings of interlocking fables that range from antebellum New York to the late 20th century timber wars of the Pacific Northwest and beyond. And there's a world alongside ours. Think trees. Vast, slow, interconnected, resourceful, magnificently inventive, and almost invisible to us. This is the story of a handful of people who learn how to see that world and who are drawn up into its unfolding story. And I think the part that really struck me, it's good fiction, very good fiction, but Richard goes into a long description of how trees work. And I was just shocked to see how they raise their young trees, how they work together in community to do that, how they use the fungus and the bacteria beneath the earth to sustain themselves and the gifts that they send back to the earth from that. I felt like I was talking about a highly dedicated group of people who loved one another. It just made trees come alive to me in a way that hadn't before, so I can't recommend it enough. It is really worth reading.
Friend of mine to sing at his celebration of life. I generally avoid funerals about as much as plagues, but she talked me into this one, and this is just the lyric to a song I sang there. You can guess who the author is. If you guess, I might play guitar someday.
There's a guitar right there.
Yeah. A great big bang and dinosaurs, fiery rain and meteors. It all ends, unfortunately. But you're going to live forever in me. I guarantee it. Just wait and see. Parts of me were made by you, and plants keep their distance too. The moon's got a grip on the sea, and you're going to live forever in me. I guarantee it's your destiny. Life is full of sweet mistakes, and love's an honest one to make. Time leaves no fruit on the tree, but you're going to live forever in me. I guarantee it's meant to be. Nice. Thank you. Got any idea who it is?
John Mayer.
Thank you.
All right.
John Mayer. Yeah.
He said he was going to play his guitar one of these days.
That's good.
Life is a gift.
Yes.
And thanks again to our musicians. Thanks to Bill for coming early, Reed and Gail, Sharon and Matt, the love of my life, Beverly, for all the work that went into this, and that was a joy to do with together. And I guess it's time now for swimming to the other side. It kind of fits everything that's been said, doesn't it?
We are living in the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. I am alone, and I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection, it'll be my crime. In humility, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. As we are living in the great big dipper, we are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, finding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me band together and be my guide, loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. As we are living in the great big dipper, we are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. And when we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we've been given to share, have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed that they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together, we're all swimming to the other side. We are living in the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever, we're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever, we're all swimming to the other side.
Sweet.
I was just checking my list and I noticed I omitted our emergency personnel worker, Julie. If it weren't for her, we would have been hard pressed to make this happen. So thank you, Julie, wherever you are. And now, our closing words come from A First Step Faith by Reverend Scott Taylor. Go with faith, not the kind that is called to move mountains, but the quieter sort that calls us to take the first step even when the whole staircase sits beyond our view. And as we move toward the unseen, may we notice that the way unfolds only as we risk traveling it, and may we remember and trust on this journey we are never alone. Amen. Please join me in the words of our already extinguished chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the fire of duty, or the fire
of commitment.
My tongue is still not untungled.
You thanked everybody except for yourself. Thank you.
Well, bless you. This has been a genuine pleasure. It isn't often that a teacher gets to be with such a forgiving group. So now we can join Reed and Bill in blessings for going forth. And I think in the interests of safety, we won't try to circle up and hold hands. But maybe you can hold hands with the person sitting next to you, or just hold your hand over your heart and let the music wash around you.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light that's within you guide your way home. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light that's within you guide your way home.
And that concludes our service today, and you are cordially invited to the garage at the top of the slope here for very strong coffee and some various pastries that await you. And if you can't do pastries, there are, I think, three kinds of organic grapes that you can feast on. And don't forget the tomatoes that are sitting under the spreading oak tree here. Thank you. And Beverly has bags if you need them.
Sweet.